The 2022 NBA playoffs are finally here, and the Phoenix Suns get the chance to capitalize on what they've been working on all season long, and that is to make it to the NBA Finals, but this time they're looking to bring the championship home and win the franchise's first ever Larry O'Brien trophy. Throughout the adversity they had to deal with all year long, the Suns have consistently been the best team in the NBA, and this resulted in them holding the NBA's best record as they notched the best regular season in franchise history with 64 wins on the year, where the next closest team behind them weren't even close with 8 less wins. The Suns have proved to everybody why they deserve to be the odds-on favorite to win the championship, and the question now looms if this could potentially be the best team the Phoenix Suns have ever had. Now, obviously, a simple answer to that question would be made if the Suns wind up winning the title that they're projected to, but in this video, I'm going to go over why the Phoenix Suns have the NBA terrified, as they are the team to beat in this year's playoffs. After the results of last night's play-in games, the Suns will be going up against the Pelicans, and in my opinion, sorry to any fans of the Pelicans that are out there, but I don't think this series is going to be all too pretty, as the Suns are going to put the Pels to bed quite easily. It won't be more than 5 games, but it's the simple fact that this might be the most lopsided first round matchup the NBA playoffs have ever seen, being that New Orleans has only won 36 games this year, which makes the win differential between the two clubs an insane 28 games, on top of the fact that the Pelicans are literally a 9th seed since they made it through the play-in tournament. Also, only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free and it helps me out a ton. The Suns have the 2 best players in this series, a defensive player of the year candidate, a better defense in general that I think is going to smother anything that Ingram and McCollum try to do, the better bench, and the list goes on and on, to the point where if the Pelicans do somehow win this series, that would probably be the biggest upset the NBA has had in a 7-game series. Since they are the 1 seed, this also means that if the Suns win, they'd be taking on the winner of the Mavs and Jazz series, where we got an incredibly unfortunate bomb dropped on us with the lingering injury that Doncic is currently dealing with, who in my opinion is the one thing that if the Mavs make it out of the first round, that could give the Suns a run for their money in round 2 if he were to play his best basketball. But even then, either the Jazz or Mavs would need to put up a masterclass of a performance to take out this year's Suns in a 7-game series, just by how good they've been and how hungry they are to get redemption over last year and win the championship. Now, I'll stop getting too far ahead on the what ifs and looking at potential future matchups when they still have to beat the Pelicans, who they have right in front of them, but this Suns team is as legit of a championship contender as you can get, and for good reason. As I already mentioned, they have 2 all-NBA caliber players on their team in Chris Paul and Devin Booker, both of which are having phenomenal seasons and are healthy and ready to win their first titles of their careers, and this playoffs in particular are obviously the most important for Paul's legacy, being the fact that although he's not showing signs of slowing down in his game, the clock is ticking to finally get his first ring at age 36, and this is the best chance I think he'll ever have, so he can be in the conversation of one of the best point guards of all time, where in every other aspect of his career, there's no question he deserves to be considered as one. And the thing that I think makes the Suns team so special is the fact that 1, they're practically all healthy for the first time in a while, but also all of the incredible individual defenders that they have on their team, making them one of the premier defenses in the NBA who are specifically built for the NBA playoffs. They finished the year off 3rd in defensive rating, just 0.6 shy of the league's best Boston Celtics, where honestly, if they were healthy all year, the #1 spot fully could have been theirs, as they had to constantly plug and play players off the bench to fill in for injuries. 1 through 5 on this team make up, in my opinion, the best defensive starting 5 in basketball, as Chris Paul was once regarded as the NBA's best perimeter defender on the Clippers, who still has that elite level of play on defense. There's just other guys in the NBA who have emerged as absolute lockdown defenders, and in particular, one of them is on the same team as Chris Paul and Mikhail Bridges, who's currently 3rd in the Defensive Player of the Year voting. A stat to display the longevity of his elite defensive talent is the fact that he ranks 9th in all-time steals per game with an insane average of 2.12 steals a game throughout the entirety of his career. And to put that into perspective, his career steals per game averages would be leading the NBA in steals per game this year. Devin Booker is having his best defensive season to date as well, where this is practically becoming the narrative on how good his perimeter defense is, and the veteran presence to instill that into his game from Chris Paul is and has already done its wonders for Devin Booker. Then obviously a man who needs little introduction for his defense is Mikhail Bridges, a strong candidate for Defensive Player of the Year this season, who all playoffs long is going to be looking for the opposing team's best player to guard in every series. Jay Crowder has been a solid perimeter defender his whole career, and DeAndre Ayton brings it all together, being an anchor down low in the paint, but also has the quickness laterally to not be a complete liability if he switches onto a guard, and with his length can still do a decent job of containing whoever that may be to prevent any potential mismatches from that regard. The ability that all of these starters have to make switches 1 through 5 is how the Suns have been so dominant on that end all season, and it allows for them to get creative in terms of trapping ball handlers, swarming star big men, and practically anything they can do to try and disrupt their opponent's rhythm. And then with all of their excellent perimeter play, this is how they force so many steals throughout the lineup, taking advantage of guys making the wrong play out of pressure and frustration. And as the game slows down and game plans become twice as important in the playoffs, this is when you're truly going to see how dominant this Suns team can be, as right now, with the potential teams in their way to the finals, I don't think anybody has the answer for them if they stay healthy. All game long, they will put pressure on your playmakers as soon as they cross half court, where not only will this style of play frustrate the hell out of any team, it's also just going to make teams uncomfortable, and when you're uncomfortable, typically this is when you take bad shots or make bad passes, leading to fast break opportunities the other way. Match this defense with a top 5 offense and you clearly have a favorite for the title, as they posted the NBA's best net rating. Healthy, it's no question the Phoenix Suns are the best team in the NBA, and I think most people can agree with that, as they've simply proved it all season. And even if injuries do come around, fingers crossed we do see a healthy playoffs this year for every team, but the Phoenix Suns also have the best bench unit, who have gotten their opportunity all year long to fill in for starters, so you best believe that they are going to be ready if their number is called once again. Cam Johnson, the team sharpshooter off the bench, has started 16 games for the Suns. Cam Payne has made impactful starts filling in for Chris Paul, where he showed his incredible playmaking ability to try to match CP3's as best he could. JaVale McGee is a serviceable backup for Ayton. Shamit, another backup guard who's the only one on the regular Suns rotation currently battling an injury, with his availability in question for this series, and the list goes on and on with Torrey Craig, Aaron Holiday, and Biyombo. An even added bonus would be the fact that if these guys do blow through the first round and on easily, this only gives them more time to rest and stay healthy and prepare for their upcoming matchups against whoever they may be, as this would be another advantage for them, just having the upper hand in terms of preparation time and keeping all of their guys fresh for when they go up against other contenders in later rounds. Although the Suns are a team that haven't played in a week and the Pelicans played just yesterday, this is a team that I think has instilled a championship atmosphere into their locker room the moment Chris Paul joined this team, so them not being ready, quote unquote, with all of the time they've had off is not a reality in this world. With the way the season ended last year, losing the championship while it was in their grasp, they've been preparing for the playoffs way before any team, as that was the moment they had their sights set on the 2022 NBA title. From what I've heard and seen, this team will stop at nothing to achieve this accomplishment, and they've shown that nothing in the world is more important to them, and they will be ready come tip-off. With that being said, in the regular season out of the way, the time is now for the Suns to capitalize on this season, as anything they've accomplished beforehand means nothing to this point, and it's finally time to see what all of the hype surrounding this team is all about, and if they can put that hype into action and become champions of the world. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great night.